NCAA basketball totals for Friday, January 13th. We got 3 games on the card today. Kind of a short card, not a lot of games on the slate, but I got 3 totals here I think are pretty interesting. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those closely. We're doing pretty well in the NCAA hoops, so you might want to tune in, check that out, share the video, things like that. Also, our NBA segment we have on totals as well. That's going on live about 4 o'clock Eastern time on our Facebook page. So you want to share that as well, and be sure to tune in, take a look at that one. Also, that'll be up on our YouTube channel once we finish that video, so you can check it out then too if you miss it. But try to tune in, share the video, things like that. SBRpicks.com, Sportsbook review. That's what we're all about, is getting out some good quality free picks to you guys, as well as all the numbers and all the odds and everything like that, as far as what you need to handicap basketball games. Sportsbook sign up bonuses, blacklist, all that stuff's there at Sportsbook review. Be sure to check us out, and let's go ahead. Let's dive in some totals again for you new guys. That's where we look at the totals set by odds makers, and we try to beat that line either going over or under the total. Last week's been pretty good, so we'll see if we can go ahead and keep that rolling. Let's dive into today. Here we go. First one up, we got Detroit and Oakland. Odds makers have it at 151 on the line, and I'm going to go under that total. And I'm going to go under that total as I pull up my stats here, because Oakland has played tremendous defense this year. Now, the last couple times these two have met, we've seen some the odds makers had some really high totals, like 170, like around there, 170 or more. I mean, just some crazy high totals. So it's kind of interesting they went back down to 151 for this matchup. But the reason is Oakland's playing a lot better defense this year. The scoring on both sides is not bad. So this game kind of makes me feel like Oakland's going to beat them pretty decently, and that Detroit's just not going to be able to score enough. Let's take a look at some numbers. I got Detroit averaging 72.2 points per game. Not bad. Oakland 77.7. That's actually kind of low for Oakland. They usually go really fast and score a lot of points. Defensively is what I really like about Oakland. Now, unfortunately, Detroit allows a lot of points, so I'm a little worried Oakland might score way too much. But I think oddsmakers set at 151 for a reason. Right now, Oakland's allowing just 67.3 points per game, and defensively, this is what it's all about for me. And Oakland's at home. They're going to put the clamps down on them. They're allowing just 41.3% shooting from the field. On an opponent 2-point shots. They're ranked 6th in the country. But from the field, they rank 15th. Not bad at all, 38.6%. So they're a good defensive team this year. They do get up and down the floor, so I am a little bit worried about that, but I don't think the tempo is going to matter. At 151, it's a pretty big number, and both teams kind of have to contribute for teams to, get over the total. And I just don't think Detroit's going to be able to score enough. Right now, Detroit, they're shooting just 43.9% overall, and they rank outside of like the top 200 teams in shooting efficiency and effective field goal percentage. Oakland is not that great of a percentage shooting team. They do push tempo, but they're shooting just 43.8% from the floor. So they're going to, be better defensively tonight against Detroit than Detroit will be against them. And I believe that's why oddsmakers have this total set, which looks pretty low actually for a team that includes Oakland. So I'm going to go under that 151. All right, next one up. Really, really fast affair here. We got Toledo and Central Michigan. 174. That is the highest total we've ever seen from these teams. I have stats all the way back to about like 98, and I've never seen a total this high. But it's 174. I mean, that's a really high total for NCAA college basketball, but I think they get over. And this is why. Toledo's averaging 81.3 points per game. Central Michigan's averaging 85.2 points per game. That ranks 13th in the country. This is at Central Michigan, by the way. But they allow so many points. You got Central Michigan, they're allowing 85.4 points per game. That's almost last in NCAA hoops. Toledo, not great, allowing 79.1 points per game. Both these teams' shooting percentage, not bad. Toledo's is pretty solid. Central Michigan, not that great, but they are at home. You got right now, Toledo is averaging 47.5% for the field and 54.7% on their 2-point shots. That ranks around top 30 in the country. Central Michigan, not that great, about 42%. But again, they are at home, and they do average 27.4 field goals made per game, and they also average 12.6 3-pointers made per game. That ranks 6th in the country. Defensively, on the other side of the ball, both these teams are just outside the top 300 in most defensive percentages. So I really look for this to be a track meet. The tempo should be there. That 174 is a little bit scary. Watch to see where that line moves. Check out Sportsbook review to check line movement. But I like for these two to go ahead and just make this a track meet and get up and down. So I'm going to go over that 174. And the last one we're going to go over also, and that is Ryder and Manhattan. Similar to that Toledo Central Michigan game, not that the total is going to be that high. It's 149. I'm going over the total, but we haven't seen a total this high for several years with Ryder Manhattan. So I think there's a reason why odds makers have set it so high. And when we look at the stats, we kind of see why. You got Ryder averaging 73.9 points per game. Manhattan's allowing about 79 points per game. That ranks as one of the worst teams in college basketball. They're like in the bottom 30. Manhattan, they're averaging 73.6 points per game. That's not bad. Ryder's allowing 73.2. That's not bad either. Now, this game's at Manhattan, though. So, I think Ryder's going to be able to score. Ryder's, I think they're a little bit better than Manhattan. At least on the defensive side of the ball, they're statistically a little bit better, but neither of these teams are that great this season. Manhattan has had some really good teams in the past, but not this year. Right now, Ryder's averaging 43.2% from the floor. That's not that great, but Manhattan's allowing 45%. That ranks outside the top 200 teams. Manhattan not that great either, 42.3%, but Ryder's allowing opponents. Well, it's not bad actually. It's 42.1%. That's not bad, but that still ranks outside the top 100 teams, and the game is at Manhattan. So that's likely to drop. As well, you're talking about a Ryder team that allows 62.6 attempts per game. That ranks outside the top 300 teams. I mean, the tempo should be there. The 149s, it looks a touch high considering the numbers we've seen from these two teams. Just to clarify what I'm talking about here, when we look at them and their head-to-head matchups over the past several seasons, let's look at the last 5 times. We had a 145.5, 125, 133, 131, 132.5. Those are the last several games. They've gone under the last 2 times they've met. So that 149 looks a little bit off. And I stand corrected. I'm sorry. They actually, in 2014, they had a 154.5 in which they went under. They went well under, actually. Outside of that one, they haven't had a total this high since about 2008. Not until 2006. 2006. So just that one anomaly in there out of about 15 games. So I look for this to go ahead and get over the total. They kind of go back and forth on their over and their unders as they've matched up in that Mid-Atlantic, but I like for them to get over in this matchup. All right, let's break that down one more time. Don't forget to check out our NBA segment again, going on live a few hours before the first tip-offs of the NBA slate. NCAA segment is right here. Again, we're looking at the totals, SBRpicks.com, Sportsbook review. Let's recap. We got Detroit, Oakland under the 151, Toledo, Central Michigan over the 174. That game's going to be crazy. And Ryder, Manhattan over the 149. Those are our 3 NCAA picks for college basketball totals, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.